you ever thought of quitting?
Yeah. I mean, I have definitely come home some nights after, you know, like a hard series of days, right? Like it's not, at
Mm,
some point, sometimes my resolve, like, well, my process is very like hard. It's non-linear. There's a lot of things that don't work in order for something to work. So sometimes when those like not working days add up, I'll go home. I mean, my poor husband has dealt with this a lot. I go home and I am in tears and I will say like I usually my go-to is I should just be a scientist. Um which is hilarious. This is I know your second question. Uh but it's hilarious because I have no scientific I have no idea if I have a scientific acumen. Like last time I took biology was what, high school? Did we have to take it in college? Like I
I
don't
did.
know, but I
I-
love the ocean and I love all things like aquatic, and so
mm,
there has always been this other, like my go-to is always like this, like a marine biologist. Um
yeah.
and
Oh, choice.
yeah. Um And, but then to go back to the first question, have I ever thought about quitting? Like when I go home and I say like I should just be a scientist or something, and my husband will say like, okay, like if that's what you want to do. And then I always start bawling because the thought of not making work anymore makes me really sad,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Whew.
So it doesn't last, right? Because then I realize, well, if it makes me so sad, like, and you know, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of why I ask, it's just something over the years I've asked people, or maybe I've asked people who've always wondered, or I've heard people mostly say, I've never thought of quitting. And I think that's crazy because I affirm that story for you, but I also am like, I am asking people that I'm not asking like cold artists, like
Mhm.
people I have at least a working relationship to, and some are really close friends, because I also am like, I want to commend all of us for
We're not
doing this
quitting.
thing that's really hard for a number of reasons. It's hard. Many things in life are hard. Being an artist might not be the hardest one, but there are some like mental gymnastics we have to go through to continue doing this.
Hmm.
So I kind of was like, what's happened is it feels like a very affirmative, wow, look at these people. They have thought about it because it's hard and they're still doing it. Like this is
Yeah, yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the questions that when I teach, I kind of start off asking my
Mm,
students, because I also think it's like, well, it's to show some humanity, like in myself, like as this, artist that they can look at my resume and they say, oh, she has this, like, but she never thinks of
she's way beyond.
quitting. Exactly. And then, so it's to just be truthful because that's like one of the ways that I strive to be in the world. But then it's also, I just think it's so interesting to, as artists, we can start to like very much solely identify ourselves by our art,
Mm,
and by what we create, but we have all these other interests too, right? So to be able to be like, so what's your secret other love
yeah.
that you have that like if you weren't making art, you might do that,
Yeah.
and some people are like, oh, I'd be a paleontologist or I'd be a jazz singer or I'd be or whatever it is. And I always find that just so interesting and a
Hmm.
great question to get to know people.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I can see that. In some cases, like I don't know, I mean, it comes up for me when I teach because I teach mostly non-traditional students. Is that what we still call them? Like older students.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, mine too. Yeah.
and I love it, but there's this sense of, oh, you've done a whole life. What has your life been? Oh,
Mhm.
I've been in finance, or I was in this, or I
Mhm.
wanted to study art in college and I instead became a lawyer. Or so I see that too, where there's whole lives people have led and have
Yeah.
always have this inkling that they want to like pour into their work more, but just life doesn't, allow it, or they didn't allow it, or whatever structures like told them it wasn't permissible.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's a surprising question to ask, especially um right off the bat. Like, as artists, like you're saying, like we work so hard just to continue to exist. I always feel like I always say to people like no one's gonna fight for your studio time except you,
Yeah.
right? Uh like you have to make this happen. And so then to ask, well, what are your other, what's the other things that
Mm.
you like too? I mean, I think the art world can be a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of like, you know, oh look, everything's gr- great in terms of our professional views or our professional like guys, as a like the what we project, right?
Yeah.
All the paintings sold. I'm wanted by these people, and these people. Like everything's great. Um, and it is often great. But there's also just a very realness of like the fact that it it's a lot of hard work, and that involves a lot of feelings. At least for me, I don't know,
I
like
don't
at
know.
least for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. I mean, I like to think I'm fairly organized. And I mean, having 3 kids has made me totally question that. But I like to think that I operate in a way that's like healthy and organized. I'm not a burden to like a dealer, or like any curators, or any number, or other art friends, like any number of
Hmm.
people who support us. But every once in a while, I'm just kind of a basket case. Like I'm running a little on empty, or I'm not like, I don't know. Sometimes I have it's not a new relationship, but I have a new gallery, and I've known him for a while. But this last year has been knowing him as a partner and a co-participant in this
Hmm.
art world. And there was one time that I was sharing, and I was like, oh, am I being high maintenance? Like,
Yeah.
perceive myself to be that. But all that to say, yeah, I think it takes a lot of chutzpah or resolve, like you said earlier. Like there are days when the resolve is like running a little lower.
Yeah. I mean, that question, I kind of question that feeling of afraid to be high maintenance,
Yeah, totally.
right? Because I'm like, how much of that is like my fear of asking for what I
Yes.
want, uh, yeah, but I totally get it, and I identify with it, and I don't have any answers to it, but
No, thank
I
you.
wonder sometimes if people that were raised differently or perhaps, you know, came from different backgrounds or genders or, or whatever, don't have that same,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. All of that. Needing to please, or wanting, yeah, totally socially conditioned as a Southern white lady to
yes.
be pleasing and accommodating.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I think I I try to work on that. Um, but it's hard, right? Because we're conditioned, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah,
That's when we have our people around us to go, yeah, Lauren, you should assume shipping is covered in this, like,
yeah.
There are no actual things I know about, by the way, in your career right now. This is just me
Right.
pretending and
No,
riffing.
no.
But
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of those things, like, yeah, expect for when you show up for an artist talk for there to be certain things happening. And yeah, I do actually have a little like pep. It's not a pep talk, but yeah, kind of a pretend I am a dude or whatever that
I
is like
know, yeah.
just act like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because yeah, I think it's helpful to when the relationships are healthy to remember like the gain of my work expanding is also expanding other people's work, like the preparators and the I mainly mention that because we're both like in a commercial gallery, like we're
Mhm.
situated in a part of the art world that's like somewhat askance from full-time academia. And so there are
Mhm.
different like ecosystems. But I do think when it's working well, that works. It's like, okay, there's a preparator, there's a director, there's a shipper, there's a like this is all happening together. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I was in a show where which wasn't in New York, but where I was like, "Oh, like this is how I want it to be." Like the space was gorgeous, the show was so beautifully curated. The curator slash gallery director like fully believed in all the work and was selling it from that place of like fully believed in it,
Mm,
and was so good at their job, and they sold some of the work, and then the reception by the community was wonderful, and I was just like, oh, this is like what I want, like this is how it can be. And not obviously not every experience is like that, but it did help me to start kind of being a little more choosy in what I committed myself to, like
mhm.
knowing what it is I wanted and what it is I felt like my work deserved.
Yes.
Um, Whereas I think before that, as a younger artist, it was like, yes, any opportunity to show, I would show in, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I mean, now I also take other things into consideration when I'm asked to show, which have to do with like, how stressed do I want to be right now? Do I have other things that are going to be emotionally taxing?
Yep.
Um, is how much of my work do I want out there in the world? Like all, other things that, my gallery can help me like sort through and make
Hmm.
decisions about. But, I think that is to also start to look at your career, like you were saying, like that you have agency and that you can make choices. And yes, there will be repercussions or consequences or effects, some good, some maybe that don't necessarily seem good in the moment, right? But but that it's okay that I can make different choices or choices in general,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear that. I think as I have moved into this phase of my career, the invitations for showing, they might not, the rubric might not be clear to someone else on paper, but I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
you're a brand new gallery in the middle of nowhere, woman owned, you get a piece,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
within
yeah, for
reason, like,
sure.
it's going to be a smaller one or it's going to be this, but I love
Totally.
what you're doing. Let's make, or we need a big piece. I'm like, okay, you're an artist run space and whatever. Okay, can I fold one up for you? So just try and the ones that I do want to commend and the space, like just politically as a political choice, like, yes, that kind of space I'm for, but how can I do that and not like burn the bridge down from like the galleries that work hard to do this like commercial.
Mhm. A
So
100%, 100%. I mean, I think those are some of the considerations, like who are the type of people I want to work with,
yeah.
right? And like that's what I mean. I think where I'm like, you know, perhaps maybe I'm choosing, or it at times I might be choosing between, you know, a space that I believe in, or like a person that I believe in, um, and a space that maybe would look better on the resume.
Hmm.
Um, but I want, it's important to me to be able to work with lots of different types of uh, organizations, and some commercial, some not, some younger, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that that is really important too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, this year, there's just so much like incredibly difficult stuff, right? Happening on a global scale, happening on a national scale. And then, you know, personally, like with people I care deeply about. And it really made it didn't even feel like like a conscious choice, but all of a sudden I became very aware of the fact that like I did not want to be under like a ton of pressure this year. I wanted to be able to like have emotional bandwidth to give to other people that were in need. Um
Hmm.
but it also made me realize like, okay, like what's really important here? And for me at least, like the work is really important. Um More so than showing it, more so than selling it. I love to show and I love to sell. I want,
Yeah.
those things. But like when I ask myself what is really important, like it's my connection to the process of making it, and the work that comes out. And in order to do that, for me, I need some time to connect, some like designated time to connect with the work, where I'm not under a deadline, where I'm not um thinking about if anyone's going to buy this or whatever.
Yeah.
So I made choices to allow myself that, which are scary, right? Because you're like, well, if I'm saying no to this, will it ever happen again? Will I, and so forth,
Hmm.
right? Um, but
Yeah.
but I think it's important, for me at least. And like I said, it didn't even feel like so much of an option. I was just like, no, no, like I have to do this right now. Um,
Yeah.